Good evening, everybody, from here in Pennsylvania, where it is 5 p.m. on a Sunday, January 21st, 2024. And we are meeting for the first time this year. And I thought it important at this time to kind of review, because we've gone through some major lessons in the aspect of understanding ourselves as souls, the realization that we're responsible for our persona integration, and we, toward the end of December, we're reviewing three major laws that are of great importance to our understanding and application, so that we have the ability to wield the energies available to us through these laws and become therefore committed and responsible players on the field of life within this planetary being that we know as God on this planet Earth. So with that, let's begin. And in this particular lesson, what I will be doing is giving not only one meditation, but three separate meditations that are to be utilized really over the next, say, usually you can work with these meditations over the next 3 years to extract the essence for inner level development in order to become conscious souls incarnate within the vehicle that we inhabit. So 3 separate meditations, each one connected to the previous one in its application. I would do the first meditation for the first week, the second meditation for the second week, and then the third meditation for the third week, in order to begin to understand how the meditations feel and realize the importance of them for your personal growth. But given that, I would not stop these meditations simply because you've done them for 7 days, ideally, each time. I would continue with these meditations in order to really, one, become more concretely connected with your soul, and then to begin with the other two, to utilize that soul connection for particular purposes that each meditation will earmark, or will be, you will understand once you go through it. So let's review the last 3 lessons and include the meditations for each lesson. Okay. This is important to put into practice before we move on to the next phase after that. I didn't want to jump into the next phase until these rudiments were habitual, were in application in your life. So we've been working on personality integration, and that doesn't happen overnight. Personality integration can take years and years, sometimes lifetimes, in order to how do I say it? Begin to work in the world and understand our world and those around us in our orbit in a totally different way, to gain a totally different perspective on these things. Okay? So let's go. We've been working on personality integration or persona integration. It takes willpower, determination, willingness to retire that which you know is not needed in your life anymore, be it mental, astral, astral emotional, or physical habits, ways of thinking, ways of emoting that may not really truly reflect who you are or who the soul is calling for you to be now as you begin to connect energetically with soul, your soul, and the larger group soul of humanity. And that will take time to do. Let's deal with that which is in our fence, us, each one of us. So this is an ongoing movement from emotion. This is part of that ongoing movement from the emotional polarization into the mental polarization. We're moving more concertedly now into the mental polarization. Over the last, I think, 2 months, we've been working with and looking to understand the law of economy, the law of relativity, and the law of periodicity. Let's review. First and foremost, these laws are extremely important because they give form its nature. If we practice these laws in our life, they grant us the ability, when properly understood and utilized, allowing us to wield these laws to a collective advantage, not a personal one. When we're talking about wielding laws or understanding the power behind a law in order to be able to wield it, we're not doing it ever just simply for ourselves. We are doing it for humanity at large. Because remember, we're working on soul levels, which means the thought is, the consciousness, the focus is on we, the group, all of us. Since we are one, not I, the separated self. We no longer work for the separated self. And we're grooming ourselves to be able to realize that we are no longer at effect of the separated self. Through these laws, we learned that form itself, nature itself, is inherently transitory. Okay? Form responds to the will of God, the impress of that will of the divine on it. Form being matter, right? So form responds to the will of God, and that will works within the nature of life in form, nature of the life in form. Okay? Every form has its blueprint inherent within it, imprinted from the time of its conception by the divine will of God. By us, humanity, understanding and living with that awareness, we shift our incarnating consciousness that until that time identifies strictly with form, thinks it is the form, thinks that there's nothing more than the form, okay? And as a result of our ability to understand that we are not the form, We're not our emotional nature. We're not our thoughts. Once we understand that, but that our persona, which is an aspect of those three, is simply the vehicle of the soul, which means that we are something much greater than this form. We live in a frequency above and beyond the form, in truth. And until we realize that and begin to reach for it, then we are imprisoned in this vehicle that our soul created for its purpose of experiencing life on this planet. So we are not engaged with it. We are not assisting in the work that we are here to do until we begin to realize all of this and begin to reach for something greater than ourselves, higher than ourselves, but yet a part of ourselves. Okay? Reality 2.0. So we reviewed three major laws, very important laws. The first being the law of economy, the second being the law of relativity, and the third being the law of periodicity. These are important lessons. We're laying down the tracks to be able to build a foundation, to be able to realize that we're not simply here to experience a life, make a lot of money if we can, have kids, age, die, and that's the end of it. No, absolutely not. That's imprisonment in form. Okay? But to realize that we are here because it's our soul's trajectory, our soul's trajectory. And within that trajectory, there are points where it enters incarnation, builds the form. It decides to enter incarnation, builds the form. And in that form, blueprint, are our lessons, our gifts, our liabilities, our weaknesses, our purpose for that particular incarnation. And then it leaves, extracts that which it's learned and the soul, and moves on to the next, drops back in with those same. And each lifetime has a particular aperture through which it comes in, which automatically deems that that particular lifetime will be totally different than the last one. Gifts different, some may be the same. Weaknesses slightly different, but also based on what was going on within all of these past lifetimes. Okay, geography different, parents, of course, totally different, race different, language different, physical form totally different, obviously. Okay, purpose different. But the ongoing underlying purpose is always spiritual evolution. You might be a hobo in one lifetime, a predator in another, a financier in a different one, an innovator or an invention, a person who an inventor in another, a dancer, whatever, an entertainer. But each one, always, humanity's trajectory is spiritual evolution. Okay? So the law of economy, as I was saying, the three laws, law of economy, law of relativity, law of periodicity, law of economy are, remember? You should be able to recite it back to me, hopefully, by the next session. All forms are divine and serve the economy of the one life or spirit, God. Ooh, God. Law of relativity relates to substance. All forms are interrelated and interdependent within the great being within which we live, move, and have our being, God. All forms within the one life, or God, are made up of substance known as the body of God, or matter. Matter belongs to God. Spirit is matter moving at its highest frequency. Spirit, is life or energy moving at the highest frequency. Matter is that same life moving at its lowest frequency. Okay? So, substance is known as the body of God, matter, the third person in the Holy Trinity. And that union, when spirit, the highest frequency, and matter come together, when spirit impresses matter, as it does with its will, capital W, divine will, matter reacts. Matter gets excited. And that excitation is based on that energy that's impressing it, causing matter to build the form that spirit has impressed it with in its perfection, meaning as it was so impressed. Okay? And that connectivity between divine will, God or spirit, purpose, will, and matter, the substance of God, creates consciousness or soul or the Son of God. Think about that one. And then the law of periodicity, which states that basically, I'm paraphrasing now, not direct quote, that there are cycles within cycles, ongoing cycles, short cycles, long cycles. Just as we have a minute, an hour, a day, a week, a month, a year. These cycles are ongoing, even beyond that which we know. Spring, summer, autumn, fall. Piscean age, Aquarian age. Okay? And these cycles within cycles create, as we know, these cycles are within the cycles of what we know as universes, solar systems, planets, a soul, an individual, an animal, a plant, mineral. Okay? These ongoing cycles correspond to the in-breath and out-breath of the divine or God, which create the appearances and the disappearances of universes, solar systems, planets, and life itself. Through our connection to our form, We learn to master our matter. We learn to master our form. And how do we do this? We do it by realizing that form in itself is a prison, okay? And that we are not of that prison. We no longer have to identify with it. We evolve individually as a group into the conscious soul incarnate. This only occurs as we're able to apply these laws to our lives. Okay? With the law of economy, we realize that our ways of being have a direct bearing on the one life. Imagine life, if one can just kind of expand your consciousness a little bit to imagine life as the one life, the planetary being itself, whose responsibility is organizing and imprinting his consciousness, his awareness upon the human kingdom, the animal kingdom, the vegetable kingdom, the mineral kingdom. Because the matter with which we are made comes from a previous solar system where form, the perfection of form, was most important. And we're seeing that a lot today in our world. I mean, there is so much focus on the form. It's crazy. It's totally imbalanced. Everyone wants to get ripped in terms of their personal bulk and ability to look dapper, awesome, perfected, like a perfected human being. But it's only the form. This particular solar system that we're in is not about perfecting the form. That's the past solar system, and we're still holding on to it. We don't realize that this particular solar system, the purpose and that which we are to be developing, is consciousness, our soul, our connectedness to soul. As individuals, our connectedness to each other as group, and our connectedness to the divine and every last kingdom of this particular planet, because we are all one. So we're being trained to realize that the form, our vehicles, are important and perfected if we treat them with care. So this particular solar system, it is the consciousness which is most important that we're developing, perfecting, and we're being trained to realize that our form vehicles are important and perfected if we treat them with care. That our purpose really, though, is to develop our consciousness and treat our vehicles with care so that we can be here for the length of time that we're allotted and have it humming in prime order so that we can physically do the things that we are here to do, so that we can harness our emotions and so that we can work with our mental aspect of ourselves, that we can develop our persona to its highest degree. That's what we're here to do. We're developing the consciousness aspect, not the physical aspect. That's been done. Okay, been there, done that. So our thoughts, our emotions, our physical habits and activities we are responsible for connecting with the one life through soul to understand how and where we need to grow. Law of economy, that was. And a description, so to speak, of how it would apply. Law of relativity, remember, everything is connected to every other thing. Nothing is separate. So a conductor, as I read earlier today, of a train who threw a cat off the train and killed it, has violently not only abused that particular animal, but the deva of cats at large as a whole, and the entire animal kingdom, by thinking that the animal kingdom has no consciousness, that there will be no bearing on his life as a result of that, and a domino effect within the animal kingdom when they consider how heartless human beings can be and what their reactions and actions should be at a time when we are seeing that animals who we heretofore thought didn't get along do, and that animals who we thought could have absolutely no concern for humanity love humanity when they're playing instruments, when they take time to get involved with them, when they show them, when they give them their full attention, what can happen between animal kingdom and human kingdom. And that conductor who so carelessly and callously threw this living animal off the train and killed it has dues to pay. And we have to take up the slack for that level of lack of understanding, let's call it that. That these animals cry when they're abused. They actually cry tears. They understand a whole lot more than we know. It affects humanity, the interrelatedness of all of us, seeking to be stewards of this planet. And we have to work to tip the scales, so to speak, so that those who seek to be stewards outweigh those who would just throw a life away carelessly, no concern about. The same is going on in the human kingdom. Look at what's happening in Palestine and Israel, Russia and Ukraine, Yemen, Congo, you name it. All of those areas where the same kind of callous and irreverence for human life is happening. And these things affect not only talking about the relatedness and the interdependence of us all, it affects the entire earth. Okay? Mother Earth is not happy with what it is she's seeing. Seas being polluted, animals dying on plastics that we throw. Actually think that our seas and oceans are place for trash? Mother Earth is not happy, and she's telling us that every day, every day. That's why we're seeing these crazy weather patterns, volcanoes, earthquakes, tornadoes happening in the weirdest places and over larger expanses, especially of this southern United States. And then we have the law of periodicity. Here, in terms of application, we are here for a determined period of time. We're here for a short period of time. Our cycle is not never ending. I mean, it is in the long, from soul levels, it is never ending. But in terms of this particular being within which we have it, it's for a short time. So smart application of the time that we're allotted will guarantee the success of humanity at large to assist the planetary being, our God, to successfully reach its next level of initiation that is occurring, that it is involved in as we speak. Let's go back to one of the abstract truths from one of the earlier lessons. Number one, the soul is a body of consciousness created by the divine, of which the conscious thinking I, the individual in the brain, is an extension. The major part of the soul, that which we call the higher consciousness, overshadows the body via a center at the top of the head. It holds itself free of and above the form. It holds itself above the frequency of the form nature itself, but it does maintain a small thread of contact with the individual in the brain. Via this thread of contact, the overshadowing spiritual soul extracts the wisdom gained out of the individual's experience in the world of form. Via this same thread of contact, when the individual in the brain is seeking upward toward light with a capital L, the spiritual soul releases to that individual spiritual guidance in the form of ideas, realizations of truth. And that wisdom which is applicable to the individual's particular situation. You might want to run that back and hear it again and again, and maybe a third time. Later, moving on, after the individual has evolved to a certain point of development, the individual in the brain withdraws the focus of awareness into the center of the head, just above the pineal gland. And the overshadowing spiritual soul, consciousness, the overshadowing spiritual soul consciousness descends via its thread of contact into the center of the head. So we have that space above the pineal gland, and at a certain level of development, the overshadowing spiritual soul consciousness descends via its thread of contact into the center of the head. Here, in this center of light with a capital L, meaning redeemed substance, the two are merged in awareness. The individual in the brain becomes the conscious soul incarnate, an initiate in the great white brotherhood of conscious souls. And as I told you before in past lessons, the great white brotherhood is that group of ascended masters, those who have been in physical form at one point in time. And instead of going on, become a part of what's called the spiritual hierarchy. That outpost of the star Sirius. Here, responsible for the evolution of humanity on Earth. Concrete facts to be proven via experimentation. And this is where we are right now, so to speak, moving into the area where we are. A, remember, human beings are essentially a soul. We are souls. 2, or B, we, human beings, have available to them that wisdom which will bring peace, love, and harmony into our daily lives. We have that wisdom which will bring peace, love, and harmony into our daily lives. And C, that humanity is superior in their consciousness to the form nature they inhabit. Who we are is not this form. Who we are is soul, above, existing above and free of the form. That humanity, I'll read it again to complete it, is superior in their consciousness to the form nature they inhabit, and that they can order it to respond to their daily demands, to their demands. They can order it, and by order, what we're saying is not, hey, you do this, but we can will it, yes, and we can organize. Our persona's connection to soul for the benefit of our development, our higher development, okay? This brings us to the techniques in which to do that. First of all, as I've always said, meditation is the key to the doorway of initiation, higher evolution, self-initiated activity, growth, evolution. So with that, we are going to practice or implement now 3 different meditations. Okay? Meditation number 1. So this first meditation, aligning our consciousness with the overshadowing spiritual soul. We've done this meditation in the past, but we're going to do it more concertedly now because it's extremely important that we understand what we have available to us. And it's extremely important for us to be soul connected, okay? We're working or moving toward, and it may be at a distance, of course, although humanity is going through major initiations, group initiations as we speak. So what used to take a long period of time is not taking as long as it used to. Aligning our consciousness with the overshadowing spiritual soul. Technique number 1. Prepare for meditation. Relax your physical body. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, allow the physical body to relax. Send a message to your nervous system to relax the physical body, and know that it will obey. Pay particular attention to your stomach and your diaphragm. Relaxing your stomach and allowing the breath to find its own natural rhythm. Take another deep breath, and as you release it, calm your emotions, seeing your emotions as a pool of water, large pool of water. Seek to calm the surface of the water, knowing that if the surface is calm, so also are the depths of that water. Calm the surface of your emotional waters until the waters become still and glassy. And reflective of the sun's light. And with a third deep breath, as you exhale, focus your mind move into the ajna center 3 to 6 inches beyond the center of your forehead, just above the brows. Or between the brows. And there, once anchored there, integrate the threefold persona. Staying within the ajna center, first focus within your ajna center on the energy of your physical form, your body, and allow that focus on the body, physical body, to magnetize any aspects of the physical body still imprisoned within the form, so to speak, in your meditative state. Any of the energies of the physical, bring them straight up into, magnetize them straight into the ajna center. Never leaving the ajna, always staying within the ajna. And do this through the breath. Maybe inhale into the physical again 3 times slowly. Focus within the ajna center, and any residual aspects of the physical, draw them straight up into the ajna center. And the same, moving into the emotional body while in the ajna center, just thinking the emotional body. And allow it to magnetically attract any of the residual energies of the emotional body up into the ajna center. Through the breath. Take as many breaths as you need to do this. Realize that you may need more breaths now. And the more often you do this meditation over time, you will get to the point where you can simply just be in the ajna center and magnetize the energies, even without breath, the need for extra breaths. And then move into the mental body and do the same, drawing any energies from the mental body existing around the area of the head straight into the ajna center. This process that we have just completed or are still working on is called integrating the threefold persona into a single unit and aspiration to the soul. So once all of the residual energies of the physical, astral, and mental bodies are integrated into the ajna center, we align upward through the top of the head with the overshadowing spiritual soul. Arrive at that connection with the overshadowing spiritual soul simply by directing through a direction of your will, without concern as to location or direction. From the ajna center, become receptive to the soul via that alignment and maintain that receptivity for at least 3 minutes. So once you have the sense of connecting to your overshadowing spiritual soul from the ajna center, stay there. Stay with that connection for 3 minutes. Realize that by this connection, there will be a growing alignment of persona to soul and of soul to persona within the ajna center. And there will be a resulting benefit in your life, in your lives, as a result of this unitedness of Ashna to overshadowing spiritual soul. It creates a deepening. It begins to create a communication line between soul and the integrated persona. Integrated, meaning that the three aspects of the persona are working together for the benefit of the soul, are united for the benefit of the soul. They are no longer disparate energies. They are standing in accord, in alignment with the soul. To solidify your connection of Ajna with the integrated persona to soul, it's beneficial to sound a silent Om. Maintain your connection with the Ajna center. And the integrated persona. And we will now begin to relax the energies from this particular meditation while we move into part 2. Keep your eyes closed. Again, from the Ajna center, reach up and connect to your soul. You would begin this meditation the same way we began the last one. I'm just allowing us the benefit of staying there and moving into the next level of a meditation. Aligning upward through the top of the head with the overshadowing spiritual soul. Sound a silent Om. This particular meditation is called Aligning Your Problems with the Overshadowing Wisdom of Your Soul. This is meditation B. Again, if starting from the beginning, you would relax your physical body, you would calm the emotions, and you would focus the mind. You would then, once done, which is alerting the persona that you are about to go into meditation, you move your energy or you move your consciousness, your awareness into the Ajna center, and you would again integrate the threefold persona through the breaths, the body, the emotions, and the mind into a single unit in aspiration to the soul. Remember that you would remain in the Ajna center and lift any residual imprisoned energies still within the physical up into the Ajna, using the breath if necessary, and the same with the emotions, and the same with the mind. And once all of the residual imprisoned energies of the persona are lifted up and integrated into a single unit, an aspiration to the soul, you would then align upward through the top of the head to the overshadowing spiritual soul, sounding a silent Om. And from the Ajna, yet maintaining that upward alignment with the overshadowing spiritual soul, you would align downward and outward with your problem. Bring a problem to mind. Bring a problem to mind going on within you, not anyone else at this point, simply you. It can be a problem with you and a significant other, you and mother in that sense, but still it's something that concerns you deeply about yourself. It can be low self-esteem, fear of a sense of inadequacy. It can be poverty consciousness. It can be a major step you seek to take. So, maintaining that upward alignment with the overshadowing spiritual soul, yet within the ajna, align downward and outward in frequency with your problem, bringing that problem into alignment with the overshadowing wisdom of your soul. So when it says outward, look outward through the ajna center. Look outward to the ajna center. Allow that ajna center to become like a TV screen, flat screen TV. And see whatever aspect of your problem, see that problem on that TV screen. So you have the overshadowing spiritual soul above you. And at a 90-degree angle outward, you have that ajna center, TV screen focus of your issue, your problem. Maintaining that alignment with your mind quiet but alert and attentive. Await the inflow of wisdom into your consciousness. Holding this focus for at least 3 minutes. This will allow the wisdom of the overshadowing spiritual soul to drop in a solution or an understanding of the issue that will lead to a solution. Stay focused on that ajna center as a flat TV screen. Realizing that that 90-degree angle is a pipeline, so to speak, for soul consciousness to pass through. Bringing awareness, enlightenment, illumination on that particular issue for healing. Take a deep breath. Slowly relax the attention and return to normal focus. So we have done 2 of the meditations, and we now will prepare for the 3rd of the meditations. And I pause this movement in case there are insights that you might have had that you may want to write down. So that you don't forget them. Remember, impressions, the feedback you get from each meditation is extremely important, not to be taken lightly, but to be anchored in time and space by writing it down so that application you can apply the instruction, the aha. And now we will go back into the meditation one more time for the last technique of the meditation techniques. This particular meditation is called Invoking the Divine Will of the Overshadowing Soul to Discipline the Form Nature. And by discipline, we don't mean we mean simply. We do not mean castigation, punishment. No, but allow the overshadowing spiritual soul to give the persona the parameters within which it can begin to move to be more in alignment with the soul. That's what we're doing. We're allowing for a communicating line, a direct line communication between soul and persona. That persona has to become attentive to. And soul realizing that the persona is attentive to it after so many incarnations of it not being, willingly begins to disseminate information, guidelines, parameters, do's and don'ts for the persona to adhere to so that it becomes more in alignment with the blueprint of the soul itself. It's a wonderful thing. You ready? Let's prepare for meditation. Invoking the divine will of the overshadowing soul to discipline the form nature. Relax the physical body. Speak to the nervous system. Have it speak to the physical body, telling it to relax. Paying attention to the stomach and diaphragm, allowing the breath to find its own natural rhythms. Making sure the tongue is relaxed. The shoulders are relaxed and below the ears. The scalp is relaxed and the muscles behind the eyes. Calm the emotions. See the emotions as a large pool of water. And seek to bring the surface of that water to stillness. So that it becomes smooth and glassy. Reflecting the light of the sun. Bring the mind to stillness. And move your awareness out to the Ajna center. 3 to 6 inches beyond the center of the forehead. Move into the Ajna center. And there integrate the threefold persona into a single unit in alignment and aspiration to the soul. And sound a silent Om. Once you do this, remember to utilize the breath for each level. And allow the energies still residing in the physical to be magnetized up into the Ajna center. And then the astral through the breath, each inhalation to be magnetized up into the Ajna center. And then the mental body, any residual aspects of the mental still imprisoned, to be magnetized into the Ajna center. And once integrated, once your persona is integrated in the Ajna center, focus on the overshadowing spiritual soul at the top of the head, and solidify that alignment between Ajna and overshadowing spiritual soul by sounding a silent Om. Now, from the Ajna, maintaining the upward alignment with the overshadowing spiritual soul, invoke the divine will of the overshadowing soul to discipline the form nature in its responses. By audibly sounding the Om. Om. Hold this invocative alignment throughout the day. Renew it as often as you need to, or that you remember to, throughout the day, by again holding that Ajna center focus, maintaining the upward alignment with the overshadowing spiritual soul, and invoking divine will of the overshadowing spiritual soul to discipline, to polish, to begin to mold your form nature in its responses daily throughout the day by audibly sounding the Om. Carry this meditative focus throughout the day, refreshing it as often as you need, and do one of each of these meditations for 7 days initially, and then switch to meditation B, 7 days, and then switch to meditation C, each one doing something totally different. First one is connecting with the spiritual soul. Second one is aligning your problems with the overshadowing wisdom of your soul. And the third one being invoking the divine will of the overshadowing spiritual soul to mold, to shape, to discipline the form nature. Three very powerful meditations that will connect you energetically and more deeply, more responsibly to your soul. I know this was a rather long meditational moment, but hopefully you understand its importance and the need for it to have been given in concert. Remember that even though we might do one of these meditations on a weekly basis, just for the coming months, once you've completed the cycle, select that particular meditation that you want to work on for a longer period of time and do so. This is part of your personal equipment, working for the mergence or the aspect of unification of soul with persona. This work leads to, and not only the work, these meditations will lead you to divine mergence if they are worked habitually. But more importantly, the information you gather from each of these meditations will begin to change you, alter you, shift you from the inside out so that you begin to reflect outwardly the soul, your soul, through your vehicle. And isn't that why we are here? With gratitude for this moment and for this ability to teach this particular lesson, giving thanks to the wisdom that stands behind this lesson, and that which is known as the New Thought Form presentation of the wisdom. May your month be filled with new insights that can be applied and possibly shared when we return next month. Blessings. Thank you. Bye-bye.